Alright guys, another video here from Fried Plantain. As you know, I enjoy the man's work. He sort of is the reason that I went off on that Whitney Cummings clip. Either way, he's got another video here titled Joe Rogan finally breaks his silence on the Rogansphere. This is a clip coming from the Rogan podcast featuring Louis J. Gomez and Big J. Okerson. Let's hear what we're talking about.
Episode number 2405 with the Joe Rogan Experience is one of those shows that starts off like any other. 3 comedians swapping stories and lighting cigars, and then, out of nowhere, wanders into a cultural philosophy seminar. Big J. Okerson, the elder statesman of self-deprecation, casually drops a term that online critics and fans have been bandying about for years: the Rogansphere. Louis J. Gomez jumps in thinking it's the same as the manosphere, that infamous digital swamp of self-styled alpha males, red pill influencers, and protein powder prophets. Joe Rogan, ever the slightly...
Well, before we get too deep into it, as I've said in the last couple videos, if these comedians want to be, philosophers, then just keep doing what they're doing. But if they want to be considered comedians, they should wear clown makeup. I think that is the only proper, change that needs to be made to really help people stop taking them seriously or start taking the ones that aren't actually comedians as not comedians. You know what I mean?
Reluctant cultural patriarch decides it's time to set the record straight. Rogan explains that the manosphere is its own strange ecosystem, a coalition of men claiming to save masculinity by lecturing young guys on dominance, dating hierarchies, and the evils of modern feminism. Andrew Tate, Rogan says, is the final boss of that world, the self-appointed top G who terrifies polite society while selling courses on how to become just like him.
Well, the Rogansphere is definitely not that, per se, but he has certainly influenced the culture of fools, man. I don't know what else to call them. The sunglasses on the bent-brimmed hat, right? The hoodie with the khakis or camouflage. This is that type of Rogan character. We see him all the time. They usually are like 5'3". They drive a diesel truck super loud through your neighborhood.
I gotta go smoke. And Jamie went, "You can smoke in here." I went, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah." So then the last time we came in, I did smoke. And when it was done, call it like wearing lucky underwear or something. I was like, we had a good flip back and forth. We were all jiving. We made the Rogansphere.
We did.
Yeah. We officially got the Rogansphere. We've been repping hard out there in the
dude.
streets.
You should see us. We tell everyone.
I give my credits. They go from the Bonfire, Legion of Skanks, and most notably, the Rogan.
Now, of course, these guys just did a Rogansphere tier list on their podcast, and it absolutely bombed. But as you can see, these guys are mocking it, almost. Right? Where they're like, hey, yeah, we're part of the Rogansphere, right, Joe? And that's clearly something that he is sensitive about.
Rogansphere.
The manosphere is a real subject. Like, people believe that it's real. That there's this, coalition of men, trying to convert young boys into the evil ways of being a man. The manosphere.
I think that's the same thing as the Rogansphere.
No, the manosphere, it's like there's levels to it.
Wrong.
Like Andrew Tate's the highest level of the manosphere.
Right,
of course.
Right? That's top G of the manosphere.
Of course.
If you're categorizing those things, the thing that you're most terrified of.
Yeah, no, thankfully he's bringing him up, though. Giving the man more publicity, right? Just talking about him, you're letting more people in on who he is and what he does and what he stands for and represents, right? This giant platform that Joe Rogan has. He's like, the top G, the main guy of the manosphere, that's Andrew Tate. So now more people, more sad incel dudes, sexually frustrated guys are going to be going over there like, that's our guy. That's actually our guy. He's not 5'4".
Is a guy like Andrew Tate.
The manosphere, Rogan clarifies, is ideological, transactional, and a little cultish. The Rogansphere, on the other hand, isn't built on commandments. It's built on microphones. It's just a web of people who've appeared on his show. Comics, fighters, thinkers, conspiracy enthusiasts, a messy constellation orbiting around long-form conversation rather than dogma. Big J and Louis crack up at the idea that they're part of an actual sphere. Gomez proudly declares that he's repping the Rogansphere like it's a fantasy football team. Rogan just shakes his head laughing.
Wait, do people go to the streets and rep their fantasy football team? Is that a thing? Are people like wearing jerseys from their fantasy football team? That doesn't make any sense. It would have made more sense to just say repping their favorite football team, not fantasy. What? I don't get that.
Half amused and half horrified that his name is turned into a suffix.
I was never like stoked on that kind of like.
Yeah, if I'm a young like Ukrainian girl.
Yeah. I've never been to that kind of like the Maxim magazine, Spike TV like energy of what they're like. This is what guys want to see: a car crash and a girl with big
I had a
tits in
Maxim
bikini.
magazine
Yeah,
subscription,
yeah.
FHM.
The thing
I
about
loved
it is, yeah, you're right, but also it works. You
No,
know,
no.
why try to reinvent the wheel?
Well, says the guy who once hosted a show called The Man Show. If anybody remembers The Man Show, this is, I think, even before Fear Factor. Joe Rogan, Jimmy Kimmel, Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla, I don't know. There was somebody else, Doug Stanhope. That entire show was show a car crash, show a monster truck, show some big titties fighting, you know, and the rest, whatever the fuck. I mean, Joe is every iteration of what people want to believe is a alpha male, if you will, in this era, right? But every man looks at it and is like, he's a clown, okay? It's all fraud. It's all short man syndrome. It's all compensating for what thou doesn't have, right? You if you're a 5, surround yourself with a bunch of 3s, man, you might end up looking like an 8.
No, it definitely works. I pulled myself out of that thing. So I was like, this isn't my, like, getting a Maxim magazine, like, hometown chicks in their bikinis. I'm like, these girls would never talk to me. I just have like too much self-loathing to be into it. It's
Dude,
like,
if you
All right, so here we are. They've literally stopped talking about the Rogansphere in itself, and they've spun it into just talking about the manosphere. That's how quickly Joe gets rid of this subject. Honestly, that's how quickly it got bombed at the live Legion of Skanks. Shane Gillis walks in, and they just move on to something else, dude. But go check out the Fried Plantain channel. Guy makes fun content. I enjoy it. Subscribe, like, hit the subscribe, hit the like here. And until the next one.